This looks like a normal New Jersey town. One main street, one row of houses, one fire station in the distance. But you're not looking at one town, you're looking at two mayors, two police departments, two public works crews, and in the end, two sets of fixed costs, landing on one group of taxpayers. New Jersey squeezes 565 municipalities into a state smaller than many countries, and carries some of the highest property taxes in the United States. So why is it almost impossible to merge these tiny towns into something more efficient? And why is the only real success story, Princeton, more of an exception than a model? Stay with this, because by the end you'll see exactly how this map got stuck, why you keep paying the price, and what it would actually take to redraw it. Chapter 1. The 565 Town Machine. Pull back for a second. New Jersey has more municipalities per square mile than any other state. Out of those 565 towns, nearly 300 are smaller than 5 square miles, and well over 100 are smaller than 2. In practice, that means 565 municipal governments, hundreds of separate police departments, fire companies, and public works crews, and around 600 school districts, each with its own administration, offices, and staff. All of that infrastructure gets fed by one main revenue stream, your property tax bill. New Jersey homeowners routinely pay roughly double the national average in property taxes. In many towns, 5-figure annual tax bills aren't the exception. They're normal. So you've got an insanely detailed municipal map and an insanely expensive system to keep it alive. The question is, why do all these tiny towns still exist? The core force: home rule. The answer starts with 2 words: home rule. In New Jersey, home rule means local governments control a lot of what people feel day to day. Schools, policing, zoning, snowplowing, and more. Historically, that made sense. When New Jersey was a patchwork of farm villages and small industrial towns, people wanted to control their church, their school, their streets. Every time there was a fight, over taxes, over schooling, over who should pay for what, the solution was often not compromise. It was split off and make a new town. That's how you get strange pairs of boroughs and townships with the same name, like a tiny borough completely surrounded by a larger township, each with its own government, budget, and identity. It solved short-term conflicts, but today, that history has turned into a machine that burns money around the clock. Chapter 2. How Home Rule Becomes a Tax Trap. Picture this. 2 small towns, separated by a single road. On each side, you'll often find an elementary school with its own administration and board, a town hall with its own staff and offices, a police department with its own chief, command staff, and building. Some of that work is truly local, but a big chunk of it is fixed overhead. New Jersey's average effective property tax rate hovers around twice the US average. Here's why that matters. Certain costs don't care how big your town is. You still need a building to heat and maintain, IT systems and software, insurance, managers, lawyers, and HR. Whether you have 5,000 residents or 50,000, those baseline costs are similar. In a tiny town, you're just dividing them across far fewer homes. The result? You pay like you live inside a massive, complex machine, but your town actually runs like a tiny, standalone company. On paper, the solution sounds almost insultingly simple. Take 565 municipalities, merge them into maybe 200 or 150 bigger regions, share police, schools, and administration, and wipe away hundreds of duplicated overhead structures. But in reality, that almost never happens. In the last half-century, New Jersey has seen only one major full municipal consolidation: Princeton. That's not just a fun trivia fact. It's evidence that, around every town line, there's not just a financial border, but a cultural and political wall. To understand that wall, we need to look at the one place that managed to climb over it. For decades, Princeton was a cartographic oddity, a dense borough wrapped by a suburban township. After generations of debate, voters finally approved a merger in 2011. The consolidated government saved millions by cutting duplicated services, which slowed property tax growth and made services more consistent. For residents, it meant fewer bureaucratic headaches and one government to deal with instead of 2. So why haven't more towns merged? Because every merger creates winners and losers. Some residents see taxes go up and local politicians can lose their jobs entirely. Then add something even more powerful: identity. People aren't just voting on spreadsheets, they're voting on the feeling of, "This is my town." Numbers alone rarely beat that. Imagine Maria. She lives in a modest, single-family home in a small North Jersey town, right near the border with the next municipality. On her side of the street, Town A, small tax base, high fixed costs. Across the road, Town B, a bit larger, more businesses, broader tax base, same style house, same lot size, similar family income. But Maria has been paying thousands of dollars more in property tax every year than her neighbor across the street. Not because her road is better paved, not because her kids get a dramatically better school, but because decades ago, someone drew a line on a map in a slightly different place, and nobody has ever dared erase it. For Maria, that invisible line feels like a permanent surcharge on her entire life. Chapter 5. The map as a choke point. Here's the core idea. The town boundaries themselves are the choke points. As long as those borders stay where they are, the entire tax and governance system is locked into its current shape. New Jersey will continue to have 565 municipalities, 21 counties, roughly 600 school districts, each with its own payrolls, pensions, contracts, and IT systems, each with its own political interests and fear of losing power. State leaders have tried to work around this. They've experimented with caps on annual property tax growth, financial incentives for towns that consider merging, programs that encourage shared services, like joint 911 dispatch centers, regional court systems, or shared public works and purchasing. But as long as the underlying borders don't change, a lot of that looks more like duct tape than renovation. What you get is a shared dispatch center here, a joint court there, a shared salt shed or snowplow contract somewhere else. Helpful. But the average homeowner mostly notices one thing: the bill still goes up, just a little less than it might have otherwise. So why does all this still matter right now? Because the combination of home rule plus 565 towns plus very high property taxes feeds directly into some of New Jersey's biggest modern problems. Families leaving the state for cheaper places, young people unable to afford a first hometowns under pressure to chase big ratables, malls, warehouses, corporate offices, and constant stress on schools and services because each little town is trying to run its own mini-system. In wealthy towns, that often translates into eye-watering tax bills on expensive homes. In less affluent towns, it can mean high rates but still strained services, because the tax base simply isn't big enough to support a full, standalone government. And yet, time after time, when mergers come up, the reflex is the same. We can share a few services, but we don't want to merge. So, what would it take to change this? A top-down redrawing of the map is politically impossible. A more realistic path is slower. More shared services, state incentives for towns that merge, and clear data showing what residents would save. In Princeton, voters saw the long-term benefits outweighed the pain. But as long as New Jersey keeps 565 little flags pinned to its map, your property tax bill will keep looking like you're paying for all of them. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more.